welcome to the start of Season 3 of Rising Woman, where we make sure you're taking your business ahead. Now, this morning, by the end of last year, the third edition of the MasterCard Index of the Women Entrepreneurs, I beg your pardon, listed Uganda among the 3 African countries as global leaders in terms of the women-owned businesses. Now, Uganda, Ghana, and Botswana were ranked as the top 3 countries with the highest percentage of women-owned businesses across 58 markets, evaluated around the world. Now, with that new normal that we're dealing with, yes, we're still at the top, but where do we as women take it to the next level now? And as we talk about that, we're looking at championing the digital platforms. So this morning, we start the Rising Woman Season 3, and we're taking a look at digital skills as a measure of business success, leveraging technology to grow your business. Now, this is a product of the NMG under Daily Monitor. I am Rita Kanya, and I'll be your moderator this morning. Joining me to have this conversation, we have our guest speaker this morning, Jacqueline Arinda, who is the CEO and a digital business analyst in the country, but a CEO with Smart24 TV. Welcome, Jacqueline.
Thank you so much.
Next to her, she's joined by Manuela Mulondo, who is the CEO and founder of the Cradle. Welcome.
Thank you.
And next to me is Diana Tukundane Agaba, who is the IT security analyst and specialist within DFCU. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Now we'll start off from my far end, that is with Manuela, telling us a story. This COVID-19 pandemic has not been easiest for many businesses within the country.
Yeah.
Started off in March, here we are in September. People are still trying to find their footing. But the Cradle, I believe, I must say, has found its footings one way or another.
Yeah.
How have you found it dealing with the digital space?
First of all, Rita, that's a very interesting question. Also, just putting into context, like just to contextualize it, even when airports are being opened, people are being released, our institution is still as closed off as in March, when we were closed. So as a child care center, even when we look at educational institutions, the child care centers will probably be the very last to be allowed to get back into a physical space. So when this lockdown happened, I don't say I saw it like this, but I knew that we were going to be among the last people to get back. You know, because they closed us off the way they will open us, but in reverse. So as the airports, the tourism, that all those sectors that were closed first would be the last to be open. So I knew that. And so there was a very huge need for us to do something about it and do it real quick. Now, last year I applied for the Rising Woman program, and I was selected, and I actually won money to start on our building a digital platform for the Cradle. And one of the things that we needed to do was to do research. So based on just what the Rising Woman did for me and for the Cradle that year, we were able to, last year and into this year, start our research, start training, start getting ladies on board, start talking to parents about it. The thought of it being digital was a bit, it seemed so far-fetched. But amazingly, by March, it was nowhere near far-fetched. April, it was nowhere near far-fetched. So I would say that for us, what it's been like is, first of all, we're just glad and happy that Rising Woman in our time could have, was able to fund us for a certain portion and say, okay, fine, we're going to fund you. Little did Rising Woman know that they were going to prepare us for this period, which is COVID-19. So by the time we were closed off, we'd trained carers, we'd trained teachers, we'd taken the curriculum off of our, off paperwork and onto WhatsApp and taking it onto Zoom. We had started to work digitally, but it was just on a trial basis. Let's see how this works. But before we knew it, it was what we had to do to be normal. So if we're to say this, by then, by April, because that's when it really got, by April we had a certain footing already because it had been set a year or two before by, just being able to engage in things like Rising Woman. Yeah.
Well, when you mentioned the fact that, it sounded far-fetched for you, as an education institution, it seemed quite off. And I don't think, and perhaps you'll correct me, that there's no space that cannot possibly have a digital platform.
Yeah.
But what was it like training the people you were going to work with, going through the research? What opened in your eyes?
So first of all, we realized that, again, they just didn't get it. There was just no way it could work. It seemed nice, and you'd get the usual, wow, what a nice idea. But when it comes to the actual application of it, that's when it would become a bit difficult, because what we are working on is getting an Uber for nannies, an Uber for teachers, and Uber for child carers. It seems like a really nice idea, but then you have a mom going like, but now, then I go online, then I start looking for, but you mean this is how it seemed extremely far-fetched. So that was one. Secondly, we still found people, even as digitally infused as we seem to be, people understand Safe Border, people understand Uber, people understand the concepts of certain things, but they can't apply them, kind of copy and paste and see that it can actually work in the same format. People saying, you mean I can get reminders on my immunization for my child? Okay, seems so cool. But when it comes to actual engagement, then people are a bit, they kind of walk away, they kind of fear it. So we had a lot of that. We had a lot of people feeling like their information, like we have too much information, we're trying to get too much information, because we need to know location and exact locations. They're like, no, now that's too much. You want to know too much about my past, about my present, but we need to know, because somebody is coming into your home. We need to know that the man in your home has not been in prison before for rape. He has not been. We need to know all of this information. So a lot of people had problems submitting or giving of their personal information. The third one was releasing money online. Like, while I don't know how that works, Rita. Like, we seem so digitally infused, but then we are not very trusting of it. So especially of something that's happening, starting here in Uganda, especially us as Ugandans. It's a Ugandan thing. Yeah. Okay. But releasing money off it, they still want to use mobile money. But I think my safety net was, there was a time when we feared mobile money. So a time will come when it's no longer, that fear. But everybody wants their money to come off mobile money through your mobile app and then to make payment to you. So we also had that, that challenge. So those were the challenges we faced in this research phase of going digital.
And now here you are.
Yes, now here we are. Now here we are, they're calling us. Okay. Now, can I please?
We're going to be getting into the now, but just to bring Jack into the conversation, you're the CEO of Smart 24 TV. It's not entirely digital, but it has taken, the front running space is digital. Most people, when they hear of Smart 24 TV, they think of the digital platforms. Where did your journey start?
Yes, thank you. Just to clear the cloud, I left Smart 24 TV just 2 weeks ago. But I guess the content that you need is what matters, right? Okay. Yeah. Now, talking about Smart 24 TV being a business channel, okay, and first of its kind in the country, there is no way how we were going to penetrate the market. And being a startup, it's quite hard. Now, for some people, just like she said, my colleague, for some of us, we had not seen COVID coming. I don't think there is anyone that saw COVID coming. So as a CEO, one way to penetrate the market and one way to ensure that the resources that you have are the ones that you're going to use to get you somewhere. So I think technology, when you look at the other side of it, is cost cutting.
Yes.
It's something that you ride on, it's free of charge. I know UCC has come up and said social media will have to start paying for it. But as a startup, as a TV, I had to ensure that I create a digital team. And when the digital team was there, I told them, you know what, I know the hashtags is about having 10 hashtags. No, that will not make sense for me. So I had to do some part of training with them, the digital team, and I can tell you 80% of my staff were the youth. So they were fast. Not that I'm saying that the age bracket matters, but what I'm trying to say is that the youth are very fast, and once you set the principles and the rules, they will work. And if you find a way to make them feel like a team, to make them feel home. They will love the brand, they will promote the brand. And the only way to promote the brand, I had to tell them that your WhatsApp must at least have the brand somewhere. Your WhatsApp status every day. I had to tell the head of digital that you must supervise them from the cleaner up to the top. What are they saying about the brand? So the first thing you should do if you're watching right now is to utilize the digital platforms, all the digital platforms. I know some people would say Instagram is kind of girlish. It's kind of, I think it's not a company thing. It is, because you don't know where your market is. You don't decide whose hobby. You don't even decide, I mean, for your viewer or for your client or for your customer on which platform to join on. So Smart24 had to ensure that we use the digital platforms. Now, COVID hits in March. And then we were like, what next? Getting the news from the field is a tug of war. Secondly, everyone wants information. And I can tell you right now, media houses, all media houses, print, radio, and TV, the first thing I think they have realized is that the world is changing. There is an accident, someone takes a phone and takes a picture, and then there are WhatsApp groups. They share in WhatsApp groups, and they even, I can tell you, they even discuss, they have these discussions that we have on TV, on social media. They discuss before you bring them on TV. So the first thing that you do is to also utilize the same platforms. If they're using the same platforms, use the same platforms. But the advantage it has is authenticity. Who is authentic? Who is telling the truth? So that's the power media houses still have. Because everyone can take a picture. I saw pictures of floods when Kasese was flooding, but someone managed to get some old video from Zimbabwe and had to put it on social media and said, oh, this is covered. And we said, no. That number plate, that kind of number plate, you start being like a CIA person. And you're like, that number plate is not Ugandan. So what I'm trying to say is utilize that, and you must mind the language. Just like the way you mind about how you look, how you present your brand, you must also make the team know that you're not going on social media to start a war. You're going on social media to provide the same information that you provide as a TV. You're just changing, just like the way you see TV and radio and print differ. So it's the same thing you're doing on social media. It's not all about posting pictures. It's not all about, I don't know what else they do there. But we'll go yes, but what I'm trying to say is the same thing you do here, push it there. Then as a company, and that's cost cutting, like I said. The third one is the brand grows to where you don't know. There are so many things that happen and your client is annoyed. So you need that feedback. Your client is annoyed, is not happy, and somewhere someone is like, you know what, I went to this supermarket or I went to this restaurant and I didn't like the feedback. Now I can tell you we are lazy. Some of us are lazy, especially Africans. We are lazy to rate, okay? You don't want to rate. After a trip, you move on to another one. I'm glad that some apps like SafeBorder make it easy that you can't go on another trip before you rate. You go to a restaurant, you don't want to rate it. But how does it get its feedback? Help them so that they help you. If you are running a supermarket and you want it to be rated, you rate every other service provider you have so that they know, they understand. But also, you shouldn't do it maliciously. You know, you want to get back to the company. But that's one way of getting feedback. But how do we deal with that feedback? You use that same platform to get back to that person. Ensure that you don't start defending your company or your service. You need to get to the grassroots. Why did someone wake up and say this? So it's one way of getting that feedback, because you will never get it anywhere else. You can advertise anywhere on all media platforms, but the fact remains the results might be the same. And the only way to know is to engage people and realize. I will give you an example of Uganda Airlines. Was it the cake?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it was the cake. And they only got feedback from social media, because lately we all know Ugandans move on very fast. There is a political issue, they will talk about it on social media, analyze, and lately we have so many analysts. I don't know where they get their certificates from, but those are the dangers of also social media, I mean digital platforms. But they got a feedback and turned it around. They turned it around and now they are cleaning up. But if they had not posted that picture on social media, maybe they would have thought that was the best cake. I'm sure the person that is outside there that made that cake is trying to get more lessons. So it gives you that feedback. So as a TV or it's a startup, when you get the feedback, it helps you improve. Now, because we are on Rising Woman, I must say also, us ladies, it's, I saw one post of someone saying, why is it that ladies only post about their body and everything? And I had to also ask that person that, why is it that men, you tend to like women that post that? You don't want to follow women that post developmental
Content.
discussions. Yes.
Content.
But I also go back to us women, that there is so much that we can do with our businesses. I have seen women that sell their clothes on WhatsApp status. I've seen ladies that sell lipstick, mention it. You know, us ladies, when we'll have something and we love it, we can work it out. So it's important that women understand that technology is here to help them. It's here to help a mother because you can do your work from home. You don't need to complain to your HR that you couldn't send an email or you couldn't do your report because you have a sick child. You can move with your laptop. And I'm glad hospitals are putting their sitting lounge, and I mean, modernized hospitals, not like the ones we know where you sit and you have nowhere to have your cup of tea. But as a woman, as a wife, as a mother, there are no more excuses. You know the percentages when it comes to top management, we're still performing poorly as women because of things that are holding us back. You have a child, you have something to take care of, so you can do your work from your computer. You can even monitor your staff, not micromanagement. We all know, I know people say micromanagement is bad, but in Uganda, when you're having a startup, that is where you see most entrepreneurs start when they're in and then they hire later and retire. You must monitor your business, which you can install the camera and you have it on you see, you just see it. Even if it comes to KPIs, it is easy. Anyone can type in their report and give it to you. So there is no excuse that I was held up in jam, I couldn't send an email. But what is the discipline in it?
Yeah.
The discipline that when you receive an email, you have to notify the person that you've received an email, it didn't bounce back. Where you say, well received, but I'll get back to you later. Where you will review your reports, and after reviewing your reports, you read them. You can read it on a tab. You read on a tab. You're seated in jam. You might not have time to go back and do homework with your child. But if you have this work, you can keep WhatsApping your child, or you can keep doing something. Help them with the homework. So what I'm trying to say is, it can make your work much easier, and it actually makes you love your job because things move very, very fast and smooth.
Well, Danny, you've mentioned quite a number of things, and before we get into things such as just a brand on your own before you're a business and all the other likes and the challenges, the dangers that lie within the digital platforms, let's bring in Diana. We have two ladies who have mentioned how their companies have moved onto the digital spaces. Yes, but also taking a look at, and Manuela had mentioned it, payments. Yeah, there's that part of, yes, I'm willing to actually purchase this product, but the payment becomes an issue. Either I don't have mobile money, or perhaps my bank's particular service, I can't pay using my card, things of the sort. Yes. What trends have you seen changing with a change in the digital numbers?
Okay, thank you very much. I want to start from the fact that COVID came and it was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
Because like it or not, we are in what we call the fourth industrial revolution, which is based on technology. And what people have to do now is go back to their businesses and say, because technology is an enabler in the first place.
True.
What it comes to do is look at the processes that you've already been running with and see how to make it efficient.
Yeah.
For example, if you had customers, how am I using technology to get to my customers? How am I maintaining my database of customers? Not that when I'm in jam and they steal my phone, my world has come to an end. But if you know that if you have a smartphone, do a sync to your Gmail, then you know at any time they can take the physical phone, but your business is still secure because you had that backup. So what has COVID done is that it has kind of accelerated the journey.
Yeah.
Like our first presenter said, she said they started the research, but they were slow. They knew it is something that they had to do, but because they had nothing to push them, they said, okay, we shall achieve it in 5 or 10 years. But technology has come and said, you know what?
Now.
It is now. And that comes to payments. She talked about how people are not willing to use platforms. People feared mobile money for a long time before they got on to say, you know what, I am confident to pay mobile money. And from my experience, when I'm paying someone that I'm not sure of, I know mobile money will leave a trail. He can't deny that I gave them money because I'll have a message, we can go and get a statement from MTN. So it's getting people appreciating what having paying through a platform does for you. If you have to deal with a legal consequence, there's evidence. But if I came and gave you cash, you can say, when did you pay me? No, I don't owe you anything. So speaking to that, banking has always been at the forefront of technology because we know technology does drive efficiencies. Technology gives the most important thing to anyone is convenience. People don't want to end up in a window market and men are tapping your words. So if I am able to make, say, an order and it's delivered to me and I have a form of paying, then the better for me. So what it had to do for banks like us, we know that we have different segments and they have different appreciation on the level of technology. For example, you want to go downtown and tell someone maybe use a mobile app. All they know is mobile money because that's what has been there. How do I integrate my banking into mobile money? Then you have banks doing banking through USSD and comes into partnership with the telecoms that we have here. But at the end of the day, we are looking at the need of the customer and trying to create technologies that suit them while making them appreciate that technology is here to stay. So when it comes to, say, business, women in business, we know some women, if you're going on a journey for entrepreneurship alone, the journey becomes hard. But we have seen women being effective in coming in groups, creating circles, and the bank was like, so how do I help these women do it in a way that can be audited, they're able to track themselves. So we have one of those products called investment clubs. But it is not just a product, it has a digital platform where you're able to do it both online and both on your phone. So now with the lockdown, people couldn't say that, you know what, I can't meet my obligation of my contribution to savings. The administrator said, no, send it through mobile money, it will get to our account. So those are some of the innovations that we do, but you see that at the back we have to look at where is Uganda at and provide appropriate technologies that will help them do that. She mentioned Uganda is still more of a cash economy. It's hard to tell people that, you know what, when you pay online, you still have paid and the money has gotten there. And of course, coming from the security background, there's still a lot of frauds that you see. So people are not that adaptive to such kinds of payments. But we have seen, say, for example, PayPal come in and say, no, I can be an intermediary for you. Pay. When you get the goods and you validate that you have gotten the good, then they pass on the money to the next, to the recipient. So there you know that if I went online and bought something, and within the period of delivery, I, for example, tell them, you know what, I've not received this. They're able to come back and say, you know what, the customer says they didn't receive, so we are remitting the money back to the customer. So yeah.
Well, you've mentioned going cashless. Now, from the perspective of, say, a business owner, Manuela, if I'm trying to make sure that there's particular security checks for my clients to ensure that, you know what, if at all the money is given to me, yes, if you haven't received the good, I will return it. I will give you back the money. If you haven't received the service, I will give it back to you. There are a bit of some push and pull there. Because sometimes someone will say, but you already paid. I told you if you have paid, I'm not going to give it back to you. This money is now mine. Yes. So how do I as a business owner actually perhaps access the bank to help me in that way? But also, how do I as a client protect myself from such people?
Okay, thank you very much. So when DFCU launched Women in Business, one of the drivers of the whole program was from the fact that women do make up 50% of the business, the stats we had. But when you go to banking, they are not, the proportion of women that are banked is actually still low. They are still, say, keeping their money under their beds and what. But what that in turn means is that they can't be eligible for credit because they don't have that track record of, I've been looking at my business, I have these projections. And one of the key things that women in business tries to achieve is in terms of improving the financial literacy of women in business. But it is not doing that alone, because it said, okay, women have challenges in business, but where do these challenges land? It is in legal aspects. For example, someone runs a business for 10 years and they have never registered returns with URA. By the time URA comes, they have to either sell the entire business and I mean, get out of business. So through the partnerships we have, say, with the Makerere Business School, where they do the training, the formal learning of financial management, we had to bring on board the Uganda Law Society to advise women in things that they should have in place, controls, laws and regulations, contracting, to make sure that those things are kind of in place to protect the women, like you have said, where there are those discrepancies. Do you have an audit trail? What did the contract you signed say? Did it say that once you have paid, nothing happens? Or was there conditions that if you don't meet, say, for example, the SLA we have agreed on, then you should be able to pay me a certain factor. So when we talk of women in business at DFCU, it comes with different components, but we had to look at the pain points, the legal factors, the bookkeeping and accounting, and the overall financial literacy of women in business to make sure that they are able to improve what they do as they run their small businesses.
Okay. Rita, I don't know if it's possible that I can say something really small. I kind of feel,
briefly.
like that when you talked about PayPal, I realized that that's one of the biggest gaps that we have in being able to use digital platforms, because at the end of the day, I do want to feel safe that whoever I'm paying does not get paid until I am happy with the service. That's probably the biggest gap we have here in Uganda, because like you said, the only integrator that we have like that is PayPal. Other than that, everybody else takes payment directly to the supplier before they reach me, the client. So maybe some woman business can.
Yes, and one of the things we also do is around giving women standing in as sureties, or we give guarantees.
Yeah.
So meaning that if a woman is getting into a business and maybe they don't have money, then the bank is coming in and because we have worked with you, we know the trend, we guarantee that you will pay. In that, then we are the ones assuring payment of either side, and then people have confidence in dealing with the woman because the bank now
becomes a surety.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to just take a very short break and we'll come back into those challenges. We'll have you, Dana, say something, but also we'll be expounding on it. We've seen the challenge when it comes to payment, but past that, perhaps there's a woman who's watching and is saying, that could be a job opportunity for me in technology. We're going to be taking a short break, but we're coming right back with Rising Women Season 3 as we take a look at you women getting into the digital space in your businesses. We're still continuing the conversation, Rising Woman Season 3. The conversation is taking the digital space of things, digital skills as a measure of business success, leveraging technology to grow your business. Now, when you say your business, that means you as a woman are a part of this business. Your brand is something. And we'll start off with Manuela Mulondo as we get into it about how you have your personal pages. Yes? Then there is the credo. And also I have seen on Twitter, Jacqueline, you are there, you were present. Yes, you did represent Smart 24 TV at some point, but there's also your presence there.
Yeah.
How does a woman come in,
Yeah.
own her business, be present, but also separate the two?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I learned very early that people don't buy businesses, they buy people. And many people have to first buy into you as an individual, and especially as a startup. They usually first buy into the person, and you're the first representation of your business's vision. So when people believe if you can be passionate about your business, if they know that this person I can speak to this person in line with, even if they don't know that the business has come yet, in line with this particular business, I know for a fact if they started a business about it, I would be their first customer. So it's kind of your first trading ground, for lack of a better word, especially if you've not started yet. It's really your first trading ground. So many people, every time you say something about Manuela, they'll think parenting, they'll think motherhood, first thing. So that then any business I come up with after that can be its own brand. So for example, the Credo has its own brand. Bump Love, which features on NTV, has its own brand. But all of them are affiliated to me, whom when you ask about Manuela Mlondo, they'll first tell you motherhood and early childhood.
But just to stop you there, Manuela, one, I think there's a woman who's out there saying, but I'm a shy person.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think social media is for me, but for my business, it is there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're very right, but here's the thing about social media, and I mean, a lot of research has been done on it, is that social media, and now I want to say this in all manner of caution, social media allows you to be the person that you're not in usual life. That's the utmost truth about it. If you're a shy person, the truth is you can actually employ someone who can help you work through your brand. I've seen so many brands of shy people, so many personal brands of shy women who have scaled the heights, even if in person they are shy, would rather hide behind a door, would rather be in the corner, would rather be at the back of everything. The truth is social media allows you to bring that person who hides in the back and not necessarily bring them to the front, but just bring them forward. Front is very different, just forward, just to front. This is me. I would rather do this video in the dark. I would rather speak without you seeing my face, but this is me. So I feel like social media gives you, as a digital platform, as technology, gives you the opportunity to be able to do that. So you can actually drive forward a shy brand. You really can. You don't have to be vocal. You don't have to. No, you can. There's people who, let's be honest, there's people who appreciate a quiet person who speaks. There's people right now on TV who are just like, she speaks so loud. Like, does she have to open her mouth? So there's a certain target audience that doesn't appreciate me as Manuela Pachuto Mlondo, the brand, because I'm too loud. But there's a certain brand that appreciates the Rita Kanya, hello, how are you doing? How is it going? So as wide as the 6 billion people that we are, 7 billion people that we are on this earth, is as different as all of our personalities. And there's a person who absolutely appreciates Rita Kanya's calm, cool, collected, and there's another one who completely understands my outgoing nature, who goes like, why would you speak like this on TV? Please relax, you know. But there's people that appreciate that, and each of us have our own target audience. There's an audience that likes people that do makeup and those that do absolutely no makeup. Have you seen people who go like, I want that one's Instagram because she doesn't wear makeup? It happens. And then there are others for whom there has to be makeup. So there is an audience for every personal brand, and social media gives you that opportunity to bring your personality forward. The second thing I like about social media is it allows for a voice for those that can't speak. So even if you're shy and you can't come forward because you have a business and you're trying to grow your personal brand, it allows a certain young girl who is fearing, who can't come out, who has a brilliant idea that if only somebody could hear. There's certain musicians, there's people who are musicians but are so quiet inside there. When you come to the front, you give an opportunity to those voices to finally come out. That's what I would say.
Okay, and you, Jackie, just to add to that?
Me, just to add on what she has said, is that in business, technology serves you a lot. Okay, there are those ones that are Nope, there are those ones that are yellow, there are those ones that are blue, and those are your clients. I usually tell people that when you look at emotions, when you look at politics, it's luxury to a poor man. But digital platforms give you a platform where you're just going to be neutral. Why? Some even put in emotions, and I'm saying emotions, not that ladies were too emotional, but when you put your brand, when you front your brand, it will be independent from all that. So no one will say, I'm not buying from Jackie because she's a People Power or she's NRM or she's FDC, to mention. But as a person, I will just leave it to be. That's why lately, I don't know what happened just in the primaries, but before you just go to the box and tick whoever you want. It's not all about going to the back of someone. So no one will ever know which party you support. So the political side of it cannot affect your business. But when you grow as a brand, that is where you see every brand on this planet has an ambassador. It has a face. Why? Because it's moving with all the followers and fans and cheerleaders to your market. Because if you stand up and say, you know what, I have a brand the other side and I'm going to pull out of social media, you will never know. You will never know. And like she said, everyone buys a person. You can choose to say, you know what, I have the best service, or I have the best, I have the best cake. Who knows? It's you who knows. No one knows. You understand? And there's so many people outside there that do things differently. Just like the way you see we sit in a class, we are only 40, same teacher, but at the end of the day, you're the first, I'm the last, or I'm the first, you're the last. It's the same way how you approach the market. The market can choose. I can tell you that some people you go to and you're like, do you know you can get that dress at 40,000 in Chukwu, and it tells you, no, 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 I want to buy from so and so because we are attached. That's where I want to go. And those are the things you need to think about when you're going digital. Grow your brand, and your brand will grow with your company. I've also seen people who, I think the mistake that we do, and since we're talking about women, is that as women, we tend to think that every time you promote your brand, people will forget who you are. No. I love to be called Madam CEO because that's what I have put. Everyone will be like, that's Madam CEO. You must find something. You cannot just be a cocktail for everyone. That can't happen. That can't happen. And like she brought out, people will always follow you as a person. And let's not forget that this is Africa. There's some things that can happen in UK, there's some things that can happen in USA, and there are some things that can happen in South Africa but cannot happen in Uganda. So if you're growing your brand, study the market around. If you engage, I'll give you an example of Twitter. If you tweet and you move away, no one will answer. And even when you're tweeting, it matters. How are you tweeting? What are you just putting prices there? I had an issue with all the entrepreneurs currently. I hope you're not doing the same.
I possibly.
They post and say inbox for prices.
Oh, no, no, no.
And I'm like, if I was to go to every supermarket and every time I have to go to the teller or to the counter to ask them, what's the price of this? Then I go back. It really irritates me. And it's lately on social media, they put a shoe and then they say inbox for the prices. They put something and then inbox for the prices. And here is the worst habit. Now with the digital platforms, you must have discipline. Like I said, you must be there. It's easy. If you're not around, you just have that message typed in well, so that at least when I send in, they will tell me, you know what, Jackie, we will get back to you. But you post and you go in someone's inbox, you ask, how much is this dress? And then it goes mute. Why are you on social media? Are you there to just post? You don't give feedback. And then when they correct you, you attack. And lately they are influencers. Okay, so you go and hire and then you say, you know, fight for me this battle. So growing as a brand, as Jacqueline Arinda, and having a company that also needs to grow, those things must support each other in one way or the other. Because like she said, people want faces. If you're my friend and I have a business and you are not supporting me, trust me, I'll look for you. I'll be like, I have the best.
And I think you mentioned one thing, which is women supporting women, and we'll be getting into that bit of women supporting women, because it's a conversation of women giving advice from the banking sector, but also from what you have been through, your experience. But let's take it back to one thing that you mentioned, feedback. The quickness within which on social media you have to be as quick as possible. And I know that people who have two different lines, so maybe you'll send them a WhatsApp message and they'll say, thank you for contacting my business account. So that quickness, and Manuela perhaps will start with you, because I believe when it comes to childcare, I don't think a parent just calls you with so much time on their hands. Sometimes it's an emergency, or you know, they want to know immediately, they need help right about now. So quickness.
I mean, and then we are women, and so while you're receiving the message, the baby is
complaining?
crying.
Are you complaining?
And while you're, you know, so yes, like, you know, she'd said earlier, there's so much more that comes to, for us as women, even if indeed technology is an enabler. Sometimes it can be, too much. And there comes, I mean, if you'd asked me this question maybe about a year ago, I would have said you have to be on your phone and you need to answer your... Immediately, I would have been exactly like Jackie has said, until I learned that you need help. You need help, like she had said, from the youngins who are very strong and energetic and quick and want to help out. You need some youth. You need someone who has come out of campus, a niece, a nephew. Get those young ones. They have so much time on their hands. They want so much experience. Their pay can be quite something that you can afford. If you have a boutique, you tell them, I'll give you address every month. You just manage for me this social media as a digital platform and technology for helping you grow your business. So in that sense, if you can get the help, don't try to do it on your own as a business owner, because you'll never be on time with your clients. And like, you know, the thing about technology, and especially the internet and the internet of things, people want things immediately. So you need somebody other than yourself that can be on that phone engaging. If, however, you're a young business owner yourself, you don't have children, you don't have extra burdens, or your business is just growing, get into it yourself. Dig in deep. And the thing about technology, which I absolutely love, and I hope maybe we'll continue to talk about it, is technology gives you numbers or analytics that you couldn't have done manually. So with that, you can be able to see, okay, what's the age group of people who's calling my businesses? What's the age group that has called about this shoe? Which one bought? How old were they? Were they going to a party? Or were they just keeping in their shoe because they absolutely love shoes? What kind of woman was it that bought? So you have that opportunity to actually look at your customer, to profile them, so that the next time you bring shoes, you can properly segment, you can target, and you can position your business just to meet their need. So that's what technology gives you as an opportunity if you're doing it on your own. But even if you have somebody helping you, those are things that you have to look out for. The analytics, the depth of the buying power of each of your clients is important for you to grow your business.
Okay. Jackie, what about you?
Yes, when it comes to feedback, I can tell you that one thing women we have, true, people say we multitask. It is true. But I can tell you that before you know it, your mental health is another thing that you need to work on. So hiring the best team matters, but like I said, it is also important. It's very, very important to plan for your time. How much time do you spend on social media, on digital platforms? How much time do you have for your home? Like she said, all this, the revolution and everything is here to help us. But if we are not compliant, some things will not work. If they tell you, open an account, you open one. You don't even mind about it. And then you don't want to understand, especially people that still say that influencers are cheap. That's not true. Because it is as expensive as anything in, I mean, any other button or whatever you do in your business. Because those are the people that carry your brand. I have seen companies where someone leaves and takes the entire social media account. There is even a government account that was dormant for almost like a month. I don't know if it's active yet, but yet it is very important in this season, but it was closed. But you can imagine, if you start afresh, just like the way you see when you're starting your business, people are like, no, she's growing slowly by slowly. But when you take it up on social media, your business can be even bigger than what your business seems like. She said that you can be anything on social media, which you're not. I'm telling you, your business can be bigger than what your business is. You can grow it, and someone is like, you know what, she even has an office, but in actual sense, you don't have an office. You're just on social media in your house. You're taking pictures of your clothes. You're taking pictures of your art pieces. You're taking pictures. It's saving you office space, but as a person, it is also saving you, I mean, she talked about URA. It is true you can pay your taxes very well. And the one thing I've realized is that once you understand what URA does, you will never feel like you're being cheated. You feel the thing is flowing, is flowing. So going back to what you were saying about balancing the two, as a woman, I can tell you there is an app. There is an app for almost everything. It's just that you need to know how to use it. You will need to know when this is your monthly salary, so that you plan well ahead. You'll know that, you know what, this month I'm taking someone for immunization. But what matters is how you react and how you as a person takes up technology. If you're still thinking it's complicated as a woman, you know, they tell you there is an app for this. Oh no, that's I really don't have time for that. But you have time to scroll through all your girlfriend's Instagram vacation pictures. That is so wrong. You have all the time to look for the favorite dresses, but you don't have time to see the apps or something that can improve your business. And secondly, if you don't know as a woman, prices go high. In Uganda, if you don't know, prices change. That's why they say inbox for prices. Everyone in this country has a price that is different from the original one. So if a woman, if us as women, we don't understand technology, trust me, I've been in that office as a CEO of a TV channel, and you have an IT expert talking to you, you're like, how is that going to solve a solution, to solve our problem? And then they bring those technical words. And you Google, but even after Googling, you don't understand it. But at the end of the day, that's not your work, because that's why they are called IT experts. But also remember that someone might take advantage that you don't know. And before you know it, you will pay heavily for that. So it is very, very important as we as women, as we take up the digital platforms, they're fraudsters, there is a lot to do, but we can learn and we can be better.
Okay. Well, we're here offering advice in the Rising Woman Season 3, just the start of it, but also another place that is actually making sure and helping women in business is DFCU Bank. You have set up a fully fledged women in business office.
Yeah.
If you have never had, they have. And it's just like a one-stop center for women in business.
Yes.
But the times have changed.
True,
I believe the way you have been conducting the business is totally different in that one-stop center. So what has changed in the training? How can people be able to access it? Because we're talking about the digital platforms. Well, here on NTV and different platforms, you continue to preach, stay home, stay safe if you can. Yes, so how can those two work? How are you doing it as a bank?
So thank you, and I think the fact that I'm seated here with these wonderful women that have brilliant ideas, brilliant stories to share of their own experience is one way DFC is getting out to women in business. Yes, times have changed. Previously, we would have, for example, breakfast meetings, would hold trade shows where women come and display their businesses, but that is not possible right now. So what has DFCU done? Like we said, we know COVID just put into our faces what was inevitable. And we had to quickly also adopt to the online engagements, get it into talk shows. And the beauty is that while we would have hosted 200 women, say at a breakfast at Sheraton or wherever, now we are speaking to all the women across the whole nation. While we could say we had 30,000 women participating in the program, now women are getting to be more aware because of such talk shows, and we'll see even that number grow. But some of the services that we are offering at the One-Stop Center was at the advisory service that we're doing in partnership with the Law Development Center or MOOBS. We have also had to say, you know what, how do we extend these trainings online through Zoom, through webinars, but we also still have the traditional telephone. We have seen people saying WhatsApp, you're putting status and people are buying. So we are reaching out to women through WhatsApp, through phone calls, because even when they were coming to the center, every woman has a different need. So it's not that they are coming and you're addressing them as a group. No, it's still a one-to-one. So then we had to look for ways, how do we still get to them and show them that we care, And 2, we also have a customer care center where they can get to us, and then those calls that are specific to the needs that have been being served by the center are addressed through phone calls. Yeah, so those are some of the ways we are getting to women. But as they were sharing, the basics still kept coming through of why do we need to go digital and why do we need these digital skills. Like I said earlier, you either are doing your business cheaper, you're doing it better, or you're doing it faster. And that's what technology comes to do. How does it bring out the cheapness? She talked about someone now running the business from home. They don't have to have a shop, but they will still, through social media, get to their customers. Because we know that your network is your network. So, and you will not build the network through people walking in your shop every day. You have to go to the different platforms, and we know right now, as you're at home, the only way you can get to your friends, your colleagues, is through the digital platforms. And then how to do it better. They talked about branding. How are you presenting yourself? If I'm still selling a flask and you're also selling a flask, do you know the difference could be in the picture that I posted on my page? It's still Logic flask, but the way I presented it, the pricing, making sure that you don't have the inconveniencing of going to the inbox. So do it better using technology, and then you'll have your customers come to you. And again, speed, fast. We saw, when COVID started, we know Safe Border was just doing, carrying people. But then they realized there was a need for grocery deliveries and whatnot. But because they had already started the journey, it didn't take them long to have a component of delivery. And now it is not going away. Because before you would want to send a document, but you'll call it as if they're going to carry a human being, and then you have to negotiate with the person, and then you're in the fear of that when they don't deliver, you can't hold them accountable. But because now within the system, they know they have come and picked a package, you can follow through. So yeah, that's how the digital platforms are actually making things better, cheaper, and faster for business.
Can we
Just
add
to add
further?
on? Yes. Okay.
Just further,
Now
just
you
a
go
little
further.
bit briefly,
Yeah.
yes.
You can go further because I was saying earlier, so one of the things that we've been able to do is to actually expand really quickly to places that we didn't know we could, or even the cost of doing that. You know, now there's a Credo in Mbale, in Arua, in Mbarara, there's some going to open in Rwanda. That's not something we were ready for or thought could happen really quickly. But because of technology, then that was, it was possible. So I would say cheaper, better, cheaper, faster, and further.
Okay.
Yes, and just to wrap up with you, Dana, I'm sorry, with Jacqueline.
Yes.
Briefly, as we wind this up.
Okay.
Going the first thing that, as you mentioned it also, she mentions fast, but also moving fast with the times. If they now say this is what is on, how quickly can you best jump on it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Just forgetting something that I realized we might leave out about the trust issue. Most of the women that are married and have their businesses do not go to banks because they think they will ask them all those details. Who is your next of kin? Who are you married to? And their businesses will be out. Because some women are running businesses without their husbands being in the know. So they feel somehow that keeping that money in a mattress or something. But the important part about digital and the beautiful part and advantage it has is that you can run your business and no one will ever know. Because yes, if you're the kind of person, because most women will tell you, if my husband gets to know this business, we'll never buy anything at home. Everything he will refer to my business. And secondly, if I fail in this business, my man will abuse me, will use it against me, and every time will be like, you started that business, it failed. So women sometimes tend to pull back, to take a step back when it comes to going official, to going formal for your business, registering it and everything. But I can tell a woman that is watching right now that you can register your business in your names and you can use the digital platforms because you will use another name and your man will never know unless you want them to know. But a bit about faster is that the moment you're fast, even your business will grow very fast. That is why you see when Amazon started its grocery part, they didn't know COVID was coming. But right now they've hit and their target that was supposed to be hit in 2022, but they hit it this year. So if you invest time, what I'm talking about is time, and do not go, like I said, admiring your girlfriend's clothes and what. Just invest time in knowing how can technology improve. And there are consultants. There are consultants everywhere. So you can approach the banks, you can approach her and ask, give it time and say, how does it work? And we work by referral. So ask, who else has it worked for? Let them tell you, and then get on and work it out. How do you know? It's by trying. If it doesn't, move out. There is only one way.
You also didn't mention that they can reach you as well, Jacqueline. But anyway, thank you so much for joining us this morning, ladies, as we were having a conversation about the rising woman, and in particular, Season 3, taking a look at the digital skills as a measure of business success, leveraging technology to grow your business. You have heard it, your brand is important. You've also heard that, well, it's going to take some trust with some clients, but also DFCU Bank has a few ways they could advise you. This is just the beginning of Rising Woman for this particular season, but we'd say thank you. And if you are a gentleman and has been watching, tell your sister, tell your girlfriend, tell your wife, wherever she is. You support the woman next to you that you might know. Having joined us was Jacqueline Arinda, who is a digital business analyst within the country. We had Manuela Mlondo, the CEO and founder of the Cradle, and Diana Tukundane Agaba, an IT security specialist within DFCU Bank. Thank you so much and have a good afternoon. Ladies, thank you.